Hey guys, it's RagingRaidRaptor here again. Back at you today with a continuation of my Raidraptor deck guide, talking about the tech cards you can run. Since this is a dark attribute deck, there are lots of good tech cards that you could potentially run if you wanted to. The first one I will discuss is Dark Claw in combination with Mask Change 2. If you don't know what Dark Claw is already, it's basically a dimensional fusion or a macrocosmos that only applies to your opponent's side of the field, which is absolutely incredible against any deck that uses their graveyard as a secondary resource, like Light Swans or Infernoid. The only downside to running this is that you need to run Mask Change 2, meaning that you will need to discard a card from your hand and tribute a monster with a level, meaning that you can't use the Force Tricks as the monster you use to summon it. And also it can be a bit risky considering that Raidraptors don't really like to discard as much as other decks like Burning Abyss or Phantom Knights in the early stage of a duel. The next card I would suggest running is Evil Swan Nightmare. It flips any monster your opponent special summoned face down into defense position by detaching a material from it. Although this card isn't particularly good against Monarchs or Cosmo, it is still very good against any other deck that does not have monsters that activate their offense as soon as they're summoned, like Burning Abyss, as it can really slow your opponent's plays down by preventing them from XZ summoning or Synchro summoning. Also, this card is not limited to once per turn, which gives it a lot more defensive power than a card like Traptrix Rafflesia, for example. While this deck is a dark attribute deck, it is also a winged beast type deck, which has quite a lot of good support cards that you can run in it. The first one being Icarus Attack, a trap card that can destroy up to 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field by tributing any winged beast type monster on the field, which can be definitely very good against Card of Demise decks, as you can activate it during the end phase of your opponent's turn, then pop to back row, or you could use it against another deck like Blue Eyes and use it to potentially stop their combos midway. This card can also special summon your rank 6s a lot quicker in combination with rank up Soul Shaver Force in your hands. The next card is Ice Beast Zero Feint, a rank 4 monster that only winged beast archetypes can access. This card can not only really slow your opponents down if they already have an established board, but can potentially steal games, as this card allows you to negate the effect of every face-up card your opponent controls and gains 300 attack points for every face-up card on the field. Meaning that you can stop cards like Cosmo Town, you could stop Domain of the Monarchs, and other cards of a similar vein. The last monster I'm going to talk about in this Winged Beast support category is Diamond Direwolf. Although this card is playable in any rank 4 deck as it can pop itself to destroy any card on the field, this card works much better in Winged Beast deck like Raidraptors, since Diamond Direwolf allows you to use a Winged Beast monster as part of a tribute to destroy a card. And like Icarus Attack, it can help you meet the conditions of Soul Saver Force if you use Force Tricks as the tribute. The next batch of cards I'm going to suggest are actually quick play rank up cards, since they are searchable with the effect of Tribulanius. The first card I suggest is Rank Up Revolution Force. This card will allow you to summon Raidraptor Blaze Falcon. By using this card with Force Tricks, Blaze Falcon can be good at times since it allows you to destroy every special summon monster your opponent controls by detaching 1 material from it. Also, this card can attack your opponent directly, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroys it. However, you do need to have a Winged Beast monster as XZ material to use this effect. The next rank up card I suggest is actually one designed for Phantom Knights, but can also work with Raidraptors as well, and that is Rank Up Magic for Phantom Knights of Launch. This card allows you to XZ summon a dark attribute monster that is 1 rank higher than one you have on the field, if that is also a dark attribute monster. And then this card will become an XZ's material along with the monster used for the rank up summon. This means you can access Dark Requiem XZ's Dragon, which is an amazing card as it can take all of the attack points of an opponent's monster, then add them to Dark Requiem's attack points, similar to Dark Rebellion Dragon. But unlike Dark Rebellion Dragon, this card can also negate any monster effect, then destroy it, similar to Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, but can special summon any XYZ monster from your graveyard after this effect has resolved. However, in order to use these effects, you will need to have a copy of Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon as Xyz material on this card, as I discovered the hard way by not reading the card correctly and lost because of it, which can make extra deck space a lot tighter if you really want to run this card. The next suggestion is Evil Swarm Ophion. This card is phenomenally powerful as it prevents both players from special summoning any level 5 or higher monster while it has Xyz material on it, which can be a very cancerous win condition against certain decks like Dark Lords or Blue Eyes. But you might be wondering, how do you summon this with the Phantom Knight rank up card when Raidraptors mainly run rank 4s? If you remember the effect of Blast Tricks, it does say that it can special summon any Raidraptor monster regardless of what rank it is from the extra deck. What you do is that you use its effect to special summon crappy Raidraptor Fiend Eagle, and then you immediately go into Ophion with the effect of the Phantom Knight rank up card, and then hope your opponent scoops up immediately afterwards. Alternatively, you could also run Crimson Knight Vampire Bram instead, as that too can be special summoned with the Phantom Knight rank up card. Although not as good as Dark Rec Room, it still has an effect that can pull off some cheesy plays, as this card can special summon any monster in your opponent's graveyard, which can be very good depending on the game state, as it can allow you to extend your combos if your opponent is running level 4 monsters, or just take an extremely powerful monster like DDD Curse King of Siegfried or Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. The next text suggestions are both trap cards for the Raidraptor archetype. The next card is Raidraptor Readiness. This card prevents your Raidraptor monsters from being destroyed by battle for 1 turn. Although this effect is not great considering that we mainly use card effects to get rid of monsters, its second effect can save you from OTKs, as you can banish it from the graveyard and not take any damage for 1 turn, provided that you have a Raidraptor monster in your graveyard. This can allow you to stay in the game for 1 more turn, which can be very crucial considering that this deck can make comebacks and grind out very well with cards like Sharplanius and Nest. Also being searchable with the effect of Mimicry does make this card more easily accessible than the next card I'm going to talk about, and that is Raptor's Gust. This is essentially a dark bribe that does not let your opponent draw when activated, which is excellent considering that it can negate almost any spell and trap cards, including the Solemn cards. However, the major downside to this card is that you need to have a Raidraptor card on the field to use it, and is not searchable by Mimicry. Now I'm going to discuss some generic trap options. The two I'm going to mention are Endless Trap Hole and Sandstorm Mirror Force, as they both accomplish the same goal of flipping your opponent's monsters face down, to which they cannot flip them up face up. These effects work very well in the deck, as you are dependent on the battle phase to use the effect of Tribulanius and Sharplanius to their fullest potential. Also, not being able to flip monsters face up can really slow down archetypes that need to use the extra deck and are unable to tribute summon. Both these cards have advantages over each other, as Sandstorm Mirror Force can potentially flip all your opponent's monsters face down if they are trying to OTK you, but Endless Trap Hole is much faster as you can use it on the summon of any monster, including normal summons, and you can use it with the effect of Trap Tricks Reflasia. The next card I suggest running is Vanity's Emptiness, the card that Patrick Hogan made popular during the Dragon Ruler format and was very expensive for a while. If you don't know what this card does, it basically prevents both players from special summoning while it's face up on the field. But if any card is sent to the graveyard from either your field or deck, this card is instantly destroyed. This can be very good as it can prevent your opponent from special summoning for a whole turn, then you can destroy it with its own effect if you have a Tribulanius in your hand, and then use its mill effect. However, the destruction effect can also backfire on you if your opponent destroys a monster or a back row. Moving on from the traps, I will now talk about extra deck choices you can make. Starting with number 77, Seven Sin. Although this is a rank 12 monster, you don't actually need a rank up card to summon it. As the card text states, you can also Xyz summon this card by using a rank 10 or 11 Dark Xyz monster as the Xyz material, meaning that you can use Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon to summon this card in combination with Blast Tricks, which is pretty good considering that it's a 4000 attack beat stick that can prevent itself from being destroyed by detaching 1 material from it, Also, this card has one incredible effect, which is extremely difficult to pull off, as you need 2 materials for this to work. You will still need to wait a turn to use it if you summon it with its effect. But the effect is, you can banish every special summoned monster your opponent controls on the field. Then you can use one of those cards and use it as Xyz material for this card. The next card I'm going to talk about has actually been seeing a lot of competitive play as a meta call against Cosmo, and that is number F0 Utopic Future. If you don't know what this card does, it can take any monster your opponent controls by attacking into it, and you do not take any battle damage with this card. Also, it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, like Seven Sin, this card can also prevent itself from being destroyed if you detach one material from it. The next card I suggest running is Foolish Burial, as it can help you get your deck running by sending Mimicry to the graveyard, and then use it to search Tribute Lanius, then use Tribute Lanius' effect to send Fuzzy Lanius to the graveyard, to search another copy of Fuzzy Lanius, then use the effect of Fuzzy Lanius to special summon itself from a hand, and then immediately go into Force Strix. These last few cards are suggestions that I would recommend if you wanted to play a turbo version that spams Ultimate Falcon as quickly as possible. The final card I would suggest is Left Arm Offering. This card can search any spell or trap card from your deck by banishing your entire hand. This may seem extremely costly, but considering that Raidraptors can special summon themselves pretty quickly and replenish your hand with the effects of Nest and Force Strix, this isn't a big deal if you're going to be going for Ultimate Falcon. However, you will need to have at least 2 cards in your hand to banish to use this effect, which is actually the only restriction of this card. So anyway, that is my Raidraptor deck guide. If you feel like I've missed any potential tech cards, please leave them down in the comment section below and tell me what you thought of the video in general. And I will see you guys in the next video.